Hi guys, it's Miss Sarah. So today we're going to make some lava lamps out of vegetable oil, water, food coloring, and Alka Seltzer tablets. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill our bottles up about a quarter of the way with water. I already did that, so mine are filled up about one quarter. So you can see right there. The reason I don't give a measurement like half a cup or quarter of a cup is because we have so many different variety of water bottles. And so I used a small Aquafina bottle and I took off the label. So you would just take whatever bottle that you have available and you would take off the label and just fill it about a quarter of the way. So then what we'll do is we'll take our oil and we'll fill it about halfway up so that it'll be and it'll be 3/4 altogether about. So I filled it. I try to use a different gauge if I can. So I'll use like the different lines on the bottle or things like that. So for this one, there's a line at the bottom, and I'm gonna fill my water to that line, and then I'm going to fill my oil up to about here at or a little bit past the second line. It does not have to be exact where it is. If you're doing an experiment where you're trying to figure out maybe if 2 tablets makes more bubbles than 1 tablet, then you'll want to try and keep everything about the exact same. So maybe you'll be measuring it exactly. I am not doing it necessarily as an experiment to test different variables or things like that. So I'm just going to estimate about how much I want in here because I just want to make the lava lamps themselves. So what we'll do first is fill them up with some water. So if you need to pause the video and go fill it up about a quarter of the way, then we will put the oil in. So I'm going to actually open the oil and pour it in this because my measuring cup has a little spout and that makes it a lot easier for me to pour it into my bottle without spilling. So I'm going to do that. Still spilled a little bit, but that was just enough. Okay, so there's about a cup of oil in that one. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. Make sure that if you're doing this in a spot that you don't have to worry about getting oil on. So making either sure that there's like a tablecloth down or some paper towels and that you're wearing clothes that you don't mind getting oil on if you are working with the oil closely. Okay, so I have them both filled up to about that second line. So you can actually see how they separated a little bit. So here's the line of the oil down at the bottom and at the top. So all of this is oil and then all this down at the bottom is water. We'll be able to see that a little bit clearer once I put in the food coloring. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in food coloring in both of these because I want us to see a difference in color between the two. So I'm going to put some blue in one. And then I'm going to put some red in another. You can see how many tablets, or sorry, not tablets, how many drops of food coloring you want in yours. I did 3 because I want it to show up pretty dark in the video for you so you can see it. You might try it with 1 or 2. You can also mix colors, so like red and blue together make purple, and yellow and blue make green, and then our yellow and red make orange. So we can be mixing those primary colors to make some of our secondary colors. Okay, so now I'm just waiting for the dye to mix in so you can see it kind of just as a little bubble on the side there. Once it starts to mix in, then it'll change the color of the water. But I don't want to shake it too much because that'll disrupt the oil and it'll make some water come into the oil. There you go. You can see it kind of like burst. Now that's coloring the water in the bottom. And now you can see that that's blue. Let me clear these out of the way a little bit so you can just see that color. And then same with the red. We're going to see if that mixes in. It's pretty close. I don't see it yet. That's okay. We'll give it a moment. So the water is more dense than the oil. It's heavier than the oil and it sinks down to the bottom. So that's why they're separate. And then the food coloring does the same. Oh, there it goes. The food coloring does the same, it sinks down to the bottom. Then we're going to take our Alka Seltzer tablets and we're going to drop them in, and it's going to turn into a lava lamp. And the reason that is the Alka Seltzer tablets make bubbles of carbon dioxide. And so when it goes down here, it's creating bubbles that are coming up, and those on those bubbles, the food coloring sticks to those, and they come up, and then when they pop, the food coloring sinks back down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a half of a tablet in one and 1.5 in the other, just to see the difference. So I want to see if a half is enough. I think I'm going to try it in my red one. Well, my red one's not quite done mixing its color yet, I think. So I'm going to get that one in a moment. I'll actually do it in the blue one. So there's the blue. And I'm going to drop this in, just the half tablet. And I'm going to wait. There it goes. Starting to bubble a little bit. Turn it so you can see. There you go. Starting to create a few more bubbles. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see a little more clear. That looks pretty cool. It's making lots of little bubbles. I'm going to bring it closer to the camera so you can see it a little better. So there's our blue lava lamp. So you can see the bubbles rising to the top. And then the color sinks back down. Some of the bubbles are sinking back down. Some of them are popping. So this one didn't make quite as many bubbles. That's because I used a half of the tablet. And with this, you can wait until it settles. It'll go on for a couple minutes, but you can wait until it settles and then drop in another tablet and see what happens. So you get to keep reusing the same ones, or you can make more with different colors. So now here's my red, and I'm going to try 1.5 tablets because I am curious how many bubbles that will make. So I break them in half first because they don't fit. So now I will wait for it to start bubbling. And there it goes. It's making quite a few this time. So I'm going to bring it up to the camera again so you can see. There's our red lava lamp. This one's making quite a few bubbles. And again, the water just stays at the bottom down here because it's more dense than the oil. Pretty cool. And then I would be curious to test now just what one looks like. How many bubbles just one tablet would make. Because I feel like a half of a tablet made few bubbles. It was good because we could still see all of the bubbles. And then I think 1.5 was a little crazy because there were a lot of bubbles. So I'm going to grab one more of the tablets and we're going to test this one with just one tablet instead of a half of a tablet and see how that goes. So I'm going to grab one of those real fast. Okay. I'm going to break it in half and then drop both pieces in. Okay, I'm going to bring it up close so you can see again. That one looks great. I think I like one tablet best of all. But again, if you have a different size bottle, these ones are pretty small. You might be better off using 1.5, or you might be better off using 2, or just 1, or if your bottle's smaller than this, maybe just a half. But I think this one makes the most amount of bubbles with still being able to see them pretty clearly. Very cool. Okay. So I would be curious to hear how this experiment turned out for you, if there's anything you did differently, if you want to send pictures of what colors you did and how it turned out, which one worked out best, maybe the size of the bottle, if you noticed any difference, or maybe you tested different bottles, however you want to do it when you create your own lava lamp, if you choose to do that. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Bye.